Hello, this is Evaluating Evidence with Sarah Hill, Jamaria Poncho, Ivy Wen, and me, Arlene Taylor, your narrator. So, our question was question 3. Evaluate the effectiveness of the evidence the author uses to support the claims made in the arguments. We are surrounded by attempts to persuade us. To be persuasive, a writer or speaker must construct a sound, logical, convincing argument consisting of assertions or claims that are backed up by evidence. In this lesson, you will learn to analyze the quality, relevance, and credibility of evidence used to support an argument, all in preparation for the EOC. These are some strategies we'll be going over. What are claims? A claim is a debatable statement that must be supported by at least one reason. Unsupported assertions are not convincing. They are propositions that convey the writer's interpretations of or beliefs about something. Claims are not facts, but rather conclusions that the writer draws from facts. What is evidence? Evidence is also referred to as support or facts. Unlike claims, facts are indisputable. Evidence is what you use in persuasive writing. So, types of evidence: personal experience, anecdote, fact, and expert opinion. So, which is which? Here's a scenario. I have a kid. I don't really have a kid, but let's just say in the scenario that I take to daycare every day. However, as the parking lot provided by the daycare has very few spaces, I often have to park a mile away on the street. It's gotten so bad that one of my friends, Ivy, has switched to another daycare. In fact, there's a 3-to-1 ratio of cars to parking spaces, as there are 15 cars and only 5 spaces. The owner of the daycare has also said that there are not enough spaces, and that he is working to change that in the future. So, which is which? Well, obviously, the one about me having to park a mile away, that is my personal experience. The one about Ivy changing daycares, that is an anecdote. The fact is the 3-to-1 ratio, and the expert opinion is the owner of the daycare. Why is this important? Why should we know this? Well, obviously, some evidence was more effective than others. For example, the ratio, or the fact, the statistic, and the expert opinion. Okay, this was more effective. So when you're going through an essay or an article, you want to look and you want to think, what kind of evidence is this, And then you put it into these like little boxes. You're, oh yeah, this is more effective, because it's a statistic and that makes more sense. Here's another slide. I'm not going to go over it. You can look at it. You can come back to it. But basically, psych, it is all fake. All the information on that slide is pretty much fake. The only part was the first sentence, which was correct, about him being the father of liberalism. The quotes are all fake. One is by Osama bin Laden. The other is by Ted Bundy. The rest of the paragraph is basically made up. A life lesson? Don't mindlessly trust everything you read. Check the source's credibility and verify the information. Because I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Why is this important? You want to know the argument so you understand the claim, so you know what evidence to use to support that claim. Maybe the evidence you get is like super amazing, like it's statistic and it's like really legit. But guess what? It's not pertainable to the claim. It makes no sense. You're you're talking about like global warming, and the statistic is about babies. You feel me? So that would obviously not be effective. Also, you want to know, is it reliable or credible? Like, I just punched you before, and you thought that was a quote by John Locke, but it was actually by Osama bin Laden. Check the credibility. Places with good authority, like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, that's always good. So here are the strategies in text citations. That's basically annotating. Go through the essay, highlight everything that you see in quotes, okay? Because it makes it easier to go back and you just look at what's highlighted and you're like, oh yeah, that's the evidence, and you just look at it and you you place it in categories like which is which slide, from the which is which slide, and you're like, huh, well, this is this type of evidence, so it's not really effective. And obviously, if it's statistic or authority, they're always the most persuasive and effective. Bias. Does the author have a bias? Yes, the author will always have a bias, but sometimes the bias will seem obvious and unreasonable. Why is that? If the argument is unreasonable, you can easily see the bias, and so the evidence the author is using is obviously ineffective. So obviously bias, girls are smarter than boys. Better. According to a study in 2012 conducted by Harvard, 87% of girls graduated in high school with their GED, while only 82% of boys did the same. Counter-arguments. These are the questions you have to ask when evaluating the evidence in an article or essay. 1. Does the author have a counter-argument? Is it strong? Does the evidence the author provides for his or her claims and arguments withstand the counter-argument? If the answer is yes, then obviously the author has used his or her evidence very effectively. So here's practice. I'm not looking at it right now because I can't really change to the internet right now. But what's in purple is the main argument, yellow is the claim, and blue is the evidence. Obviously, the main argument was that many people were irritated with the season finale of The Walking Dead, and they had the right to be, as it did not trust its audience enough and ended with a cheap cliffhanger. So his claim, one of his claims to support his main argument, is audiences were dissatisfied with the season finale. Obviously, this is correct. Then he uses a lot of statistical evidence, which I believe was very reliable, very effective. Then he compares it to the Game of Thrones, which I don't think was as effective. It was very biased, opinionated. There's a lack of counter-arguments also, which also makes it more. So why is it important? You want to pass the OC? Good luck!